you taking her? Put her down. Bro, I hope you guys will enjoy this video regardless of my dog shaking and trying to tear up my Marie plush. Which I hope you don't, because she is my favorite character from Disney. Speaking of Disney, you look insane. Welcome to the new space today, by the way. We are going to be talking about Disney, but first and foremost, can we talk about the space? Do you see how much I did last night? I did all this last night for you. This is my sock. So yeah, I did go and make a new space over here for filming because, like you guys probably know if you've been watching the channel, I have kind of made my gaming channel more into like a VTube channel coming up soon. So I'm getting prepared for that. So you're probably not gonna see the manga too much anymore. But today, this is the first video in the new space. Tell me in the comments how you like it. But like I said, today we're gonna talk about Disney. And this might be a little bit of a controversial video, maybe for Disney fans. Oh, now you're gonna attack the other one. Because today we are talking about Disney's Wish. Yep, I watched it. Finally, I'm really late to this, but I watched it. And I got some thoughts about it. So let's go ahead and get into those thoughts. He's just gonna be here now, I guess. If you want to see my dog tear up my my plushie from the Disney store, maybe this was a bad choice to bring this to my bed. So first and foremost, I did really like Asha. I really liked her character. I know a lot of people were like dogpiling on her character because they're like, you know, just for example, trying to kind of base her off of like maybe like Rapunzel or like Anna from Frozen. And like the thing is, I like those kind of characters. So this might just be my opinion, which I mean, I'm making a video, so it's obviously my opinion. But for me, I like her character type. Asha is a character who, she just wants to bring good to the people around her. The whole plot of this movie is that her Saba, so I'm assuming like her grandfather, is turning like 100 years old, and he has this wish. And he really wants this wish to be granted. It's his lifelong dream to have this wish granted, and that is her goal. She just wants to make him happy. She's like, you've lived so long, you deserve this. It's your birthday, you deserve this more than anyone else. And so that's her whole driving force, is that she wants to be able to give her grandfather something that is very dear and precious to him. So the whole movie of Wish, the theme basically is that you have a kingdom, you have a magic king. He's able to take people's wishes and grant them, but he doesn't grant every single wish, only just a couple. And so the movie opens up talking about like, hey, I need an assistant as the king. Give me some applicants, and Asha gets to be one of those applicants. She goes in, she realizes that, hey, this isn't right. The king is not doing something moral. He is only granting wishes that he wants to, and not everybody's wishes. Why? Why won't you grant everybody's? And he's like, oh, I just don't feel like it. It's kind of lazy, not gonna lie. That plot line, it's a little bit lazy. We'll get into that later on with things that I don't like. But anyway, basically Asha starts rebelling, and she's like, no, I don't accept this. You can't just pick and choose who you want to grant wishes to. I don't appreciate this, and I'm gonna go against you. So that's kind of her whole driving force, is that, you know, she found out the king was not doing as he said, and that this was causing people to get hurt. Because also established in the movie Wish, if the king takes a wish from someone and he doesn't grant it, or if someone offers their wish to the king and he doesn't grant it, they kind of go into this like depressed state where they are just kind of like, I feel so lost and empty because something that I had that was very precious to me was stolen, and I don't know what I want to do with my life anymore because he took practically their will to live. So I do really like that about her character. I like her driving force. I think that she is a good character. She's trying to do something that's good, something that's morale, that will benefit not just her family, because the king does kind of make her out to be like, oh, you're selfish because the first thing you say to me after becoming my apprentice is that you want your family's wish to come true. And to be fair, she kind of was. She kind of was a little bit selfish. She wasn't meaning to be, but I mean, like I said, we'll talk about this more later on in the video. But basically, she has this force that she goes for because she wants to not just bring happiness to her family. When she uncovers the truth, she wants to bring happiness back to everyone in the kingdom. So to be fair, I do think she is a really good character. I think she is a little bit awkward at times just because she, you know, she's one of those characters who can kind of come off a little bit dipsy, a little bit clumsy, but overall, she has a very good head on her shoulder. And also, we cannot not talk about this woman's voice. I don't know who her voice actor is. I'll put it up on the screen in editing, but oh my god, she has one of the most beautiful Disney princess voices that I have heard. It is so beautiful, so perfect, and I'm not gonna lie, I love her character design. It's very simple. Maybe it's the purple dress that's making me kind of think about Rapunzel. It's not, in my opinion, the most iconic dress, but, you know, if they had like thrown in a princess like transformation like bippity boppity boo on her, I feel like that wouldn't quite be the story that this show, this movie was trying to tell, because it's not that she's necessarily a princess. Once again, this is gonna be kind of like spoilers because I am talking about the aspects of this movie. At the end, she kind of is going to become the fairy godmother of the kingdom. So she gets a wand, and she's not necessarily a princess. She's kind of more as like a magical figure for the princesses, kind of like, you know, Cinderella's fairy godmother. That's kind of what she is going to become. She's not necessarily a princess. She's not royal. She never marries into a royal family. She has nothing to even really do with the royals except for she takes down the king and is kind of like acquainted and befriended the queen. So she's not technically a royal. So is she a princess? Not really. Is she kind of like, you know, is Disney kind of pushing her into that Disney princess lineup? Yes. The more things that I really like about the movie is the song that she sings is so good. The Wishing Upon a Star song is so good. I will say though, it gets a little annoying because they do use this song 3-ish times in the movie. It's like whenever she feels down, she just starts singing the same song. So that's definitely the song of the movie. It's definitely the iconic song. To me, to be fair, I know I'm kind of being a little negative here, but it wasn't like one of those songs that you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be singing this all day long. It wasn't too memorable, but because they sung it so many times in the movie, it felt memorable. See, like in most Disney movies, when you have the iconic song, like Let It Go, Hakuna Matata, they're songs that are so good that they don't need to be sung over and over throughout the movie. But with this one, the only like reason that I feel like it's super memorable to me is because the amount of times that they sung the song. And I will say the song, like I said, was really good. I did really like that at the end they used the power of friendship, because I'm not gonna lie, that's one of my favorite tropes in like anime, TV, whatnot. I love the power of friendship. I can't help it. I like it. And so when they all stood up at the end and were singing the song, it's like, I wish, I was like, yeah, that's a vibe. That's good. I enjoy that. Like, that's just my own personal opinion. I know some people don't like it. I don't care, because I like the power of friendship, okay? I like the power of friendship. I think is I also really just like the setting of this movie. I enjoyed it. I thought the kingdom was great. I wish we could see a little bit more of the kingdom. I really liked the introductory song. It reminded me a lot of Encanto, where Mirabel is like going around the village and like singing about her family, and it's kind of like showcasing some of the houses and the people who live around the house. And I really got that vibe. I don't know if that's exactly what they were going for, but like that's the vibe I got from the beginning of Wish. Maybe obviously since that was an anniversary movie, that's the reason, or maybe it's just because Encanto was so good, I was like, that's Encanto. But like, I really did like that they went around and kind of showed some of the village. I would have liked to know more though about the lore of the village, because we do know that the King Magnifico does come in and he does, you know, establish this village. He's not necessarily a royal himself. He becomes a royal through establishing this village, and we do see a little bit of his backstory, and we do see that, you know, he comes from a family that was practically annihilated. We don't know how, we don't know what happened, but we know that he's got a very bad, tragic sob story where his whole family is gone. He comes and he brings up this amazing, beautiful castle and kingdom and magic with him. And so we have a really good setup, and there could be some really good lore, but there just wasn't. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the things that I don't like, and then we'll get to the part where I'm like, this is how you could have made this better. Because if you don't know, I am a writer myself. Mr. Goose was cold, so I wrapped him up in a in a robe. Oh, he was so cold. It's okay, Bubba. If you see a moving duck robe, it's my puppo. But anyway, some of the things that I didn't like, I'm not gonna lie, kind of revolves around the king. I really do think that he was kind of screwed over. It's the best way that I can put it. I think that genuinely both characters come off as very selfish, and that's a problem because it wasn't established in a good way. Like I said with the king, let's cross our legs, get our legs up here and talk about the king, because I have a lot of thoughts about him. I really think that the King Magnifico could have made this movie so good if he was just written a little bit different. So basically what happens is that he becomes the sorcerer at some point in his life after his family has died, and then he builds the kingdom of Rosas. He comes together with the queen, becomes the king, all powerful. The citizens love him because he starts granting wishes. Why? Why does he grant these wishes? Why is this something he needs to do? That's something that's never really established, is why? What is the purpose? Because obviously we know that the wishes are powerful. We know that he is, a sorcerer. And we do know that he has this forbidden book that is locked up, that is bad, that you don't want to touch because it's bad juju magic and we're not going to touch that, so it's locked away. But why does he take the wishes? Are they going to make him more powerful? Or does he just want to keep them safe? I've seen two sides of this argument so far when I'm looking at people's opinions online and talking to people about it. There's two sides. One side is the reason why he took the wishes is so that he would become more powerful, because he wanted to have that power that the wishes have. But he doesn't seem like that in the beginning. In the beginning, he seems like a really nice king, someone who really cherishes his kingdom, his wife, his people. He loves the people. So I just feel like this one isn't quite the right mark here. And then there's the other one where he's trying to protect the wishes, which I definitely feel like I side with a little bit more, because it does seem like he's trying to keep these wishes, to keep them safe. But why would you keep them safe in your castle? Why would you want to take these wishes from your kingdom, from the people that you do love, and leave them as husk of their former selves? Because once again, when you give your wish up, when a citizen would take their wish and give it to the king, it's like they lost themselves. If it wasn't granted, they would just become like a husk. They would feel empty. They would have no purpose anymore because something that they loved, something that was so precious, was taken from them. It's almost like their soul was taken from them. And we see this in the character Simon, who the king takes his wish, obviously, voluntarily. Simon gives up the wish. The king takes it, but it's never granted. The king's, for example, with Saba says, your wish is too dangerous, I can't grant that. So I'm assuming he's also probably said something like that to Simon. But that's the thing. First of all, some of these wishes are not dangerous. We learn that Saba's wish is a beautiful, very kind wish. This old man, in his final days, he's not dead yet. The movie doesn't say that he's dead yet, but he's 100, so let's be honest, But just saying, Saba in his old age just wants to bring peace, kindness, and music to the people of Rosas. He just wants to be joy. He wants to spread joy to the next generation of children who are going to be raised up. His dream is just to perform music and show people the beauty of it. That's what his wish is. That is not a dangerous wish. It's something that the movie established. It's something that Asha sees and is like, that is not a dangerous wish. Why would he not grant something so beautiful? There's nothing dangerous about this. And so that is a huge thing that I feel like is kind of like a plot hole that I really didn't like, because why would you risk taking something so precious from someone and just keeping it to yourself? and not doing anything and just kind of leaving them in this depressed state, that to me is not something that a good moral king would do. So why? Why is he doing that? That was never properly established in the movie as why he was doing it. What is the purpose for it? I don't know. That I did not like. That was a huge plot that I thought maybe towards the end when the king does eventually turn evil, I thought maybe that's what is going to kind of like, you know, be the foreshadowing of like why did he take these? Like what was his goal? Never said anything about that. So the wishes, not gonna lie, really confused me. Next is I simply didn't like the pacing. I felt like if you had made this into a series, or even if you just extended the movie by like 30 minutes, the movie was like, you know, just movie time was like roughly about an hour and a half long, not including credits, of course. But if you had just given like maybe 30 more minutes to this movie, maybe make it closer to 2 hours or make it a series or something, that could have benefited this series so much, because there was so much that one was not established, that if you had added a little bit more world building, that could have made the series so much better. And two, everything felt so rushed. I didn't have time to properly like really get to know these characters and to really get the feel of like, why are you so sad? Why are you so upset? Because it just was so fast. Like there was this one scene that made me just really kind of confused and not happy with Saba, where basically after Asha, you know, is rejected from the apprenticeship from the king because she's like, I don't agree with what you're doing. She goes home, she tells Saba and her mother, who are, I'm assuming, her only family now, because we know that her father did die when she was like 12, and so basically they're sitting at the dinner table, both Saba and Mama are happy, and they're trying to talk to Asha. They're like, oh, she's just really sad because she didn't get the apprenticeship. It's okay, honey, things happen. And then Asha reveals, no, I know what the king is actually doing. He's not being morale. He's taking things from us. He took Saba's wish, and now look at him. She's like, now look at you. You're sad, right? Your wish will never be fulfilled. You know, basically to her grandfather's face is like, the king said that he's not going to fulfill your wish. He said it was dangerous. And then Saba's like, the king said that? I guess my wish was never meant to be then. I should have never made this wish. And then Asha's like, but why? Why do you trust him so much? Just because he's the king? Like, he's never done anything good for you. Why did you trust him? And Saba goes off on Asha. And he's like, no, do not tell me what my wish is, because that will break my heart knowing that it will never come true. I feel like this scene needed a little bit more build-up, because why does Saba put so much faith in the king? Like, obviously he's the king and whatnot, he's got this magical ability to make wishes and whatnot, but what has Saba, what has the king ever personally done for you? Not a thing. He said your wish of making music, playing a banjo for the future generation was dangerous. Why would you trust the king over your own granddaughter? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know. Something about that scene just really rubbed me the wrong way, and I think it was the pacing, because I think that Saba, like, getting so flustered and angry and yelling at Asha was just kind of out of the blue, because I was watching and I was like, oh, okay, here's where the tension comes at. Whoa. If a family member just started yelling at me like that at the table, I would start crying. Like, no wonder she got up and had to run away. I would too. Okay, so before we get into the things that I think could fix the story, let's first and foremost talk about things that I saw going around. First was romance and true love's kiss. Two was the Fan and Star Boy. First things first, the true love's kiss. I saw a lot of people saying that the way that Magnifico, the king, kind of like got eradicated from being the bad guy was that they trapped him in a mirror. It was in his staff that he created with the bad juju magic, and it was kind of like a mirror at the top, so kind of hinting to like Snow White in the mirror, you know, because it's the anniversary movie. But basically a lot of people were saying, instead of doing that, why couldn't you freed him from like true love's kiss? Because there's very obviously some like underlying themes that the magic book that the king, opens up, kind of takes control of him. Like, was he an evil person to begin with? Personally, I don't think so. I think that he was a good guy who just got took advantage of, because obviously his kingdom doesn't seem to really care about him. They only care about his power, his magic, and what he can give to them. They don't love him because they, respect him. They love his magic. They love what he can create, what he can do. And so obviously he starts to feel very overwhelmed and honestly probably a little bit tired. Like, even Asha contributes to this, because when she first meets him, after becoming his apprentice for like a couple minutes, basically, has this huge moment with him. They're singing and they're just getting along so well, and he's like, finally, someone who finally understands what I'm trying to do. She betrays his trust by saying, oh, by the way, can you grant myself his wish? So, like, definitely there's some selfishness on both of their parts, and I really do think that the king just kind of got screwed over, because I think the magic book definitely took a hold of this weakness that he had, feeling like he wasn't really worth anything to anybody except his powers. His powers were the only thing anyone cared about, not him. I think that if you had taken that aspect with the queen, who had supported him through everything, she was his biggest supporter. If you took that scene and rearranged it so that now the queen is like, no, I'll break you from this curse, true love's kiss, and then maybe he could have been saved and apologized and been like, hey, I'm sorry guys, I messed up. I was being a little bit greedy, and the kingdom could have been like, nah bro, it's okay. We were the problem too. We took advantage of you. We're sorry. If you could have done that, it would have been such a cute ending. Instead, the queen just completely turns against him, and she's like, bye-bye, I'll be the queen now. I'll be the ruler now. And the queen is like a nice character. It's not like she's doing this to be mean necessarily, but genuinely, I feel like that could have been such a better plot, because you would get over this understanding. The kingdom does not even realize that they're taking advantage of their own king. So I definitely feel like True Love's Kiss could have been really good here, and there just could have been an overall like understanding on everyone's parts, because everyone was kind of in the wrong here on the story. And next we have the Star Boy. The Star is a character in the movie who Asha wishes upon a star, and magically a star flies down to her that is sentient and makes animals talk and does cool magical things, like makes chickens grow. And so basically the star is just kind of like a sentient character. It doesn't speak really, it makes noises sometimes, but there's a lacking of like verbal intelligence. It does have this kind of like, intelligence about it, but it's kind of like if it was a toddler in a way, because the star just kind of like bounces around and is like, ooh, woo. And so one of the things that I saw was a lot of people making like a fandom like art of the star and making him into a star boy, making him into an actual like humanoid character. And a lot of people were like, oh, this star boy would have been so cool, would have really added to the story, could have got Asha some romance. That's kind of where I disagree. I think that the Star Boy, if he were to become a human, would have been pretty cool. I don't feel like it's something that the story necessarily needed. Would he have been really cool to see? Yes. The character designs, like artists who have been like drawing, the star as the Star Boy, is amazing. Beautiful designs. Could have been a really iconic character, not gonna lie, for this movie. Like the merch could have been great, but I don't think the story necessarily needed the star. Like, yes, I like that the story had the star, because it is a magical story and whatnot. Asha's whole song is wishing upon a star, so I think it was nice to have him in there, but I just don't think it's a character that played that big of a role. I don't think Asha really needed a romance. That's not what she was really into. Her whole goal was to, just kind of like, help the kingdom. That was always her goal, is that she wanted to work under the king because she wanted to help, grant people's wishes and bring like happiness and joy to the kingdom that she loved so much. A kingdom that her father had taught her to love so much. That was her goal. She didn't really need romance, and I don't feel like she was a character who needed to have a romance, because it was never hinted that she was in a partnership with anyone. So I don't think that, the Star Boy and Asha with a romance was something that I would necessarily care about. Like, I just don't think that really, for me, was something that would have added to the story. Like I said before, I don't think that King Magnifico was necessarily a bad character. This is the way that personally I would have wished the story of Wish would have turned out. So we have the king, who obviously suffered a very horrible tragedy. His parents, his siblings, everything was taken from him. So he then proceeds to learn sorcery. He becomes a very gifted sorcerer who then concocts a kingdom. He raises a kingdom from the ground, becomes the king, takes on a bride, has a queen and king, and now here they are. They're raising these like citizens basically almost as their children, because they are the king and queen. This is their land. And so Magnifico, after suffering such great loss, decides, I will never let that happen again. Something that he quotes in the movie is, I cannot bear that pain anymore. I will never let that tragedy happen again. He's very protective over the kingdom that he's built, the people that he loves, and his wife that he also very loves dearly. So he starts to kind of take these wishes from people. Why? Because he wants to protect them, because he wants to protect these people who he cares so much about. So he takes the wishes, but he doesn't realize just how bad he's hurting people. He doesn't realize that when these wishes are taken, that they're not being granted, it's causing the people to fall into this very depressed state of loneliness, of grief, of sadness. He doesn't understand that because he doesn't fully see that. He just sees him taking the wishes and he puts them back into the castle so that they can be safeguarded. He doesn't intentionally know that he's hurting the people of Rosas. So anyway, he then decides that he wants to take on an apprenticeship, and this is where Asha comes in. Asha comes in and finds out that what he's doing is wrong. She sees that he's taking wishes from people like her friend Simon, who gave his wish to the king. The king took it, put it in his safe room, never granted the wish. And now Simon is a husk of himself. He doesn't remember what he lost. He doesn't remember the beautiful dreams and wishes that he has anymore. And he just kind of feels lonely, and he's grieving this loneliness. He's grieving this loss that he doesn't know what it even is. So Asha, seeing this, is like, no, this isn't right. We need to do something about this. So the king might not fully understand that. So he's like, no, I'm going to protect these wishes. I'm the only one who can do it. I will not let something happen like that tragedy that happened to me. I will protect these people doing it my way or the highway, because I can. I'm the sorcerer here. And this causes the fallout. This causes Asha to run away, tell Sama and her mom everything that happened. This causes her to meet the star. This causes her to kind of like become the villain of Magnifico's story. So then I would have the movie kind of play out the way that it did until the end. At the end, maybe we finally get to see Magnifico, who learns like, oh, this magic evil book has corrupted me. This is not what I wanted. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I only ever wanted to protect everyone. But I got so caught up in my own like self-doubt and just my own like issues with people not respecting me, just like craving my power. I got so wrapped up in it that I became a tyrant, and that's something that I didn't want to be. So, then the wife comes in, true love's kiss, maybe she restores him to being a human, and they vow to be a better king and queen. The entirety of the kingdom realizes that, having my wish be granted might be great, but the king's a person and he deserves respect. He does a lot for us. He built this king for us. He built this kingdom for us. And he definitely is like one of the like nicest figures that we have here, keeping us safe from danger. And we've kind of like, used him for our own greed. We're sorry. If there was a sorry on the king's behalf and the people's behalf, they could have got back together, came back in unison, and formed an even stronger community, an even stronger kingdom. And with Asha now as the fairy godmother, the star grants her a wand. She becomes kind of like the fairy godmother of Rosas. She could have worked once again under the king as the apprentice, so that one, she can learn magic. She knows nothing about magic. She's just granted this wand from the star and, literally at the end makes a chicken grow like 3 times its size. She knows nothing about magic. She needs someone to teach her magic. So the king, now that he is kind of like apologized, come to his senses, takes her on as his apprentice. So she gets to have her original goal of the movie at the beginning to become his apprentice, and gets to work under him and learn from someone who is a mighty sorcerer. This is what I feel like should have happened in Wish. That's it. That's what I think would have made the story so much more heartwarming. More heartwarming? Is that the word? So much better. It would have made it so much better if there wasn't like this awkward, like weird tension that the king is kind of going through, because it's never resolved. It's never anything that is spoken about. He's just kind of like, you know, Asha wants to take me down. I'm gonna use the magic book, and like kind of goes into madness from there. So I really do think that the way that I, you know, kind of portrayed this, that I feel like that, to me at least, maybe you would disagree, to me, that's what I feel like could have made the story so much better. If one, the pacing might have been a little bit better, and two, if the king had some rewrite, you know. I don't think that he was an evil person. I really don't think that he was an evil person. I just think that he got, you know, overwhelmed, and he was honestly just screwed over. I really do think so. I really think that, you know, all of the kingdom's greed got to him, and it influenced the book to get him and take him under his grasp and kind of like change him into the evil king, which I don't think that this man was ever meant to necessarily be evil. I think that he was just screwed over. So to wrap up this video with my final thoughts, I don't think this was a bad movie. I think that there were a few bad writing choices, and genuinely, I think that if this was just a standalone movie and not necessarily a movie that was supposed to be the anniversary movie, I think that it would have done so much better. I think one of the big problems is that people had very high expectations, and sorry, but Disney just did not deliver with those expectations. I know so many people, and I can't lie here, I agree with this. I don't feel like Disney's movies hit the same way that they used to. Sorry, it's just my own opinion, and I've also seen so many other people have this opinion. I really think that just alone could have been a great stand-up movie. Wish could have been its own thing on its own, and it could have been great. It needs a little bit of tweaking in my opinion, but still pretty good. But, you know, compared to movies that we've had like within the last couple years, like Encanto, great movie. Frozen 2, great movie. It just didn't hit the way those two did. So for me personally, I would give Wish a 6 out of 10 if I had to rank it. I liked it. I can't deny that I didn't like it. I did. I liked it. It's one of those movies, would I want to rewatch this movie? No. If someone was like, oh hey, I haven't seen Wish, can I come over to your house and watch Wish? I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll watch that with you. Personally, it's not a Disney movie that I would want to watch over and over and over because it was so good. For example, movies like that are not necessarily Disney classics because they're not old enough to be classics, are movies such as like Rapunzel, Frozen, Inside Out. They're very good movies, watchable movies, rewatchable movies that are so good, but Wish did not fit that category for me. It was like, oh yeah, this is good. Let's move on to the next. When's the next one coming out, you know? It's like, it was enjoyable, but it's not a rewatchable experience to me. I feel like it was very one and done. I would never want to watch this again, and that's just kind of sad, because for Disney, a big part of the Disney magic with movies is that it's movies, it's songs that you want to hear on repeat, characters who you want to see fight again for what's right. They're movies that you want to keep watching over and over again because they're so good. And I feel like this one doesn't quite embody that Disney charm that a movie that is supposed to be an anniversary movie should be. Overall, like I said, not too bad, not the best thing I've ever seen though. But anyway, I want to know your thoughts down below about the movie Wish in the comments down below. Let me know how you felt about this movie. Did you like the characters? Did you like Asha? Did you like the king? How do you feel about the designs, the world, the story? And if you could go in and change some of the plot lines, how would you want to rearrange them or rewrite them so that they would fit a little bit better? Let me know all your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!